to Eye on America. I'm Michelle Miller. Today we examine Americans' love of sports and how they're evolving amid ever-changing technological advances. In Nevada, we examine the rise in college sports betting and explore the controversy surrounding the billion-dollar industry. And in North Carolina, we meet the youngest head coach in Division I sports, sharing her inspiring rise to the top. But we begin with the return of an old-school souvenir, once a must-have for sports fans, the pennant. They used to be a classic symbol of school, team, or town pride, but these vibrant felt banners have fallen out of favor. Jeff Glore introduces us to the friends behind Oxford Pennant, who are bringing back the tradition while also creating jobs.
We've always liked old stuff. It was just by chance that this was the product that kind of caught our hearts.
Brett Michael and David Horish are two friends who had a new idea for an old product.
The pennant really came about as a piece of folk art.
Pennants have been around for at least 1,000 years, originally used as a sign for knights, then to mark British battleships. They eventually started finding their way into the hands of baseball and college football fans.
And it's touchdown, Syracuse!
Some of which can still be found at Oxford Pennant in downtown Buffalo. Yeah, Yellowstone, Old Faithful. I mean, it's America.
That's right. You can really tell what the prominent technology was, from folk art to, obviously cut by hand, and you can kind of see it all the way up to even present day, kind of how technologies have changed.
In their heyday, pennants were being used to mark just about any and every occasion. Beef Club Champion, 1937.
I'm really proud of that one. I only got second place on 36.
But as American manufacturing got more efficient and fans switched to hats or jerseys, pennants got less attractive and less durable. So this is felt. Michael and Horish are bringing back the old-fashioned felt blend meant to last. I want this flush.
You want it to be flat.
Using a combination of wool and rayon. I mean, that placement is better than any computer can do. Let's be honest.
That's why we got to do it.
So, with updated technology, so cool, and classic technique.
We will never get rid of the floor full of people with sewing machines making these by hand. That's an essential part of our company. And so to me, it feels like it's an important element of what we make that the consumer recognizes in a way that they don't recognize in other products that are in the market.
Who are you hiring? Who do you look for?
We like to hire weirdos.
Because?
Because they're one of us?
Yeah, because we're weirdos.
Yeah.
At its core, the most important part of this company is its creativity.
Oxford has also discovered pennants aren't just something people use to show off their teams.
Bands love pennants.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I think you can't wear the same t-shirt every day without somebody calling you out. But you could have the same pennant on your wall every day, and you can enjoy it. And I think it says something, literally. So if it's a lyric or a song title or anything like that, it's kind of made for the medium in the same way that you would put it on a poster. I think this is pretty evergreen.
Oxford Pennant has grown to a 60-employee operation, selling $6 million worth of products every year.
There's an issue with this. It's just too good.
Aside from bands, they have deals with Sesame Street, the U.S. Postal Service, the National Hockey League, and more.
Rangers one's really nice. I do like that.
They can also custom make anything you want, including celebrating your favorite TV show. Their personal favorite expression, "Let's go Buffalo," which may be the best part of this story. Not what they make, but where they make it.
We're underdog people working for an underdog company in an underdog city. And ultimately, the ethos of what we do makes its way into the world because I think there's something interesting about that.
You want underdogs to win.
I sure do.
Coming up, a CBS News investigation into the billion-dollar boom in online sports betting. This is Eye on America. Welcome back. College sports betting has become a big business in just a few years. The American Gaming Association says more than $93 billion was gambled on sports in 2022. That number is growing, and critics are raising concerns about threats to the integrity of college athletics. Jim Axelrod investigates how a string of scandals hit college sports in the wake of legalized online betting.
College football rivalry at its finest.
When Iowa took on Iowa State, it was 5 players not suiting up who made some of the biggest headlines. All had been sidelined and were dealing with criminal betting charges, including Iowa State's star quarterback.
That's a starting quarterback of a Power 5 university at football. How much bigger do we get than starting quarterback at Power 5 schools?
Was he betting on his own team?
Yes. I mean, any athlete betting on their own events, period, in our world it just can't happen.
Matt Holt runs U.S. Integrity, a Las Vegas-based tech firm retained by nearly every professional sports league and all of the major college conferences. Holt's company is the watchdog, guarding every game that can be bet
It's a first down.
to make sure they're conducted fairly and squarely.
I think Iowa and Iowa State was a huge eye-opener.
Maybe for others, but Holt's eyes had been wide open for months. When U.S. Integrity noticed something fishy with the bets placed on this University of Alabama baseball game, Holt alerted state regulators. Alabama fired its baseball coach after he allegedly helped an associate make bets against his team in a game he was coaching.
If you have a coach who is betting on his team to lose, this is a 5-alarm fire.
100% 5-alarm fire, yes.
College sports has had plenty of gambling scandals over the decades. City College of New York basketball in the 1950s, Arizona State hoops in the 90s.
You want to make every game interesting? Step 1, open the BetMGM Sportsbook.
But the issues in Alabama and Iowa are hitting now as legalized online gambling is exploding.
You can bet on the games you want anytime you want.
What are the chances that what happened at Iowa State or Iowa or Alabama only happened at Iowa, Iowa State, and Alabama?
They could have happened anywhere. How could I ever say that I don't think it's happening? Because the proof recently shows someone dug in that well and there was water.
Matt, we spoke to a Division I athletic director, and he said to us, quote, "I'm scared to death. We are all on pins and needles." Do you hear that a lot?
I do.
We're ingesting a ton of different data sources.
U.S. Integrity COO Scott Sadin came from the hedge fund world, where he analyzed Wall Street transactions to root out suspicious deals. Now he does the same, crunching sports data.
How many sports do you keep your eyes on?
Everything that has regulated sports wagering available on it.
U.S. Integrity focuses on betting lines, odds, refs, and social media posts to try and spot suspicious behavior. They alert leagues, state regulators, and the NCAA when something just doesn't look right.
Around 15 to 20 notifications go out to sportsbook operators and regulatory offices a month.
The company wouldn't share specific games that raised their suspicions, but said their most common concern is gamblers trading on inside information, like that solicited in this direct message to a college athlete on a top 25 NCAA basketball team. A DM the athlete might not even have known was from a gambler.
This person started selling it under the misleading pretense of, look, I have this student athlete. The guy himself is feeding me inside info.
With 363 Division I teams in college basketball alone, 10 times the number in the NFL or NBA, Holt has his hands full. He says he isn't inflating the threat. He doesn't need to.
First of all, we get paid the same amount of money regardless of how many scandals. Our whole goal here is prevention and identification.
You don't feel you're overstating the problem at all?
No, and I've never tried to. Again,
but don't take Matt Holt's word for it.
Morning, Governor. How are you?
How are you?
Just ask the man who stands atop the world of college sports, NCAA President Charlie Baker.
What's your sense of the threat to the integrity of college sports that online gambling presents?
It's extremely prevalent. And the fact that it is now, on your phone, you don't have to go somewhere to bet. I think it's a real challenge, not just for us, but for student athletes.
We continue our CBS News investigation into gambling on college sports. NCAA President Charlie Baker tells our Jim Axelrod why online betting has him worried about student athletes' safety.
This year, an estimated $15 billion was legally bet on March Madness, 5 times the amount from just the year before.
I've talked to a lot of coaches about this, and I've talked to a ton of conference commissioners, and yeah, they're all concerned about it. And I think they're concerned about it for the same reasons we are.
Charlie Baker is the president of the NCAA. He took over just after serving 2 terms as governor of Massachusetts, which legalized sports betting on his watch.
The bill I filed did not include college sports.
Why?
Because I worry about the impact it would have on young people who in many cases would get put in complicated positions.
Complicated positions have been on full display in college sports.
College football rivalry at its finest.
At Iowa and Iowa State, where 8 players have been accused of betting on their own games. And at the University of Alabama, where the baseball coach was fired after accusations of helping others to place bets on his team to lose. For years, gambling on college sports meant a trip to Vegas for legal bets or finding a bookie for everything else.
Bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed.
The fact that it is now, on your phone, you can do it anytime you want. I think it's a real challenge, not just for us, but for student athletes.
While Baker was clear about the boundary the NCAA tries to keep between college sports and the business of legalized gambling,
the NCAA is not making money from online college sports gambling.
Not a penny.
Not a penny.
he did acknowledge the threat gambling presents to the integrity of the games. A recent NCAA survey revealed the number of big schools reporting a problem gambling issue in the last year jumped from 3% in 2019 to 27% this year.
One of the reasons we did that survey was to say, this is really something you should be worrying about if you're not.
At the top of Baker's threat list, prop bets, side bets made on some part of the game, like will a given player make his first shot. It could be hard to detect if a made or missed shot is on the level.
My concern about prop betting is just that putting myself in the shoes of a young person who's on a campus, who has a friend or two that come up to them and say, you know, I love you. If you could just miss your first couple of free throws this week, it won't affect the outcome of the game.
We don't talk about gambling as much as we do with drugs and alcohol.
The NCAA has hired an education company, Epic Risk Management, to conduct training sessions like this one at Purdue University. Mark Hicks is the managing director of enforcement for the NCAA.
Can you characterize for me the degree of concern that some scandal could undermine the integrity of college sports?
It's a great concern of mine. That's my area.
Hicks has a team of about 20 investigators, but gambling is just one of the issues they handle.
Is that enough to effectively police the threat?
It's a tough assignment. We deal with what we got, and we do the best we can in that area.
As a way of answering somebody who might say the NCAA, if not looking the other way, has a vested interest in not looking too deeply, what's the answer to that?
I don't know if I have a great answer to that, but I think the data would suggest we're not looking the other way. We're actually, dealing with what's there in front of us.
While the NCAA would only tell us there'd been a sharp rise in the number of gambling cases it's investigating, CBS News has learned that there were 17 active investigations underway.
We talked to one expert, and he said to us, when you talk about the pressure, when you talk about the money involved, this is a when for a major scandal, not an if.
You certainly have to behave with that kind of an attitude.
Ahead, we meet a young athlete with an incredible career both on the field and the sidelines. That story's next. We close our show with an inspiring story about making and reaching goals. Erin Matson went from the youngest player ever named to the U.S. women's national field hockey team to being the youngest head coach in all of D1 sports. Dana Jacobson visited the University of North Carolina, where the athlete continues to impress.
Always be ready, Plume. Want it back.
For Erin Matson, field hockey season at North Carolina started a bit differently this year.
Who's helping? Who's joining?
Following 5 years of leading the team on the field, she stepped up to lead the Tar Heels dynasty from the sidelines.
As head coach, is it different?
Yes, definitely. You know, you can sit and have the conversations and plan for it. You know, what's gonna feel different, be different, what's gonna look different, you know, and then it happens. And it's still completely full of surprises, but in a great way.
North Carolina is sacred to Erin, her second home, thanks in part to her mentor and predecessor, Karen Shelton, who retired after 42 seasons and an NCAA record 10 national championships.
Do you feel that it's daunting to have to follow in those footsteps?
I've gotten that question, like, do you feel the pressure? And it's like, of course I do, but I love it. Whether it's a national championship game or taking over the program from someone who has done it better than anybody, you know, I just have that mindset. And it's like, yeah, let's bring it on. Like, let's go.
Playing field hockey since she was 6, Erin says she always envisioned a future in the sport.
I remember sitting in my bed and being like, Dad, I want to play in the Olympics one day. And I think my dad at first was like, what is my 9-year-old daughter saying right now? But he also understood.
When you talk about being 9 and thinking about that, I guess at what age did you know you weren't just good at this sport, that you were elite?
I really never thought like that. I knew I had the confidence in myself that if I worked harder and I prepared more than others, that I could do anything.
She credits her parents for laying that foundation for her success, a standout from the start of her collegiate playing days at Powerhouse, North Carolina.
Where's to the top of the circle? Matson with a sweep shot. Matson with a goal.
Here's Matson with the delay, with the strike, and with the goal.
Erin Matson against Edie Goshen, and Matson has the goal.
A 3-year captain, she'd graduate as the most decorated field hockey player in school history. 51 days later, the program was hers.
Could you have imagined that when you graduated, that you would then take over the program?
Oh my gosh, no, not at all. I tell people all the time, I had the goal coming into Carolina, coming into college, of making some friends, having a great college experience, getting an awesome education, and winning 1 national championship. And
you won how many?
Exactly, 4. I was a part of 4 national championship teams, 3 of which were undefeated. And yes, now I get to, you know, be here every day and have an impact. And now, yes, I'm responsible for the future of these student athletes.
And the Carolina Tar Heels have completed the undefeated season.
Some who last season were Erin's teammates, like team captain Romé Ricardo, who's shared a field with Erin on and off since they were kids.
Something that we always said was Erin would do a great job coaching us on the field.
Well, there you go.
And now that she is,
we still have a part of her that's still bringing her edge into the game. It's just from a different position.
Yeah.
And that position's our coach now. She's able to help us so much differently in a way where on the field sometimes she had to do her job and then she was trying to help people, where now her job is to literally help us.
A natural transition, but not without some adjustments, including some unique to Erin in her rookie role.
You played with people and now you're their coach.
Yeah, I am a big believer in those little things add up. Little things with like getting a new cell phone so the team doesn't feel weird when their last text to me was one thing and now they're asking another thing.
So you knew the relationship had to change somewhat.
100%. Yeah, there are new boundaries. I'm not going to shy away from the sense that this is unique, but my biggest thing to them was we don't need to make this weird. We don't need to overcomplicate it. And I try to explain it to people and they're always like, where's the drama in this? And there's not. And I think this group, just their attitude with it, you know, their support from the start with just, let's do this. Let's do something that's never been done before.
And that's allowed Erin to learn all that encompasses being a head coach,
Good, Rye.
It's a job she admits she didn't think about when dreaming of Olympic glory as a kid, but one she's put those Olympic dreams on hold for in order to try.
It took a lot of thought, but it was just kind of a feeling that I knew that this was what was right for me at the time. And I've, joked if the stars align and the rainbow happens and there's a unicorn jumping towards, hey, go play in the 2028, Olympics, sure.
But for now, Erin's singularly focused on her Tar Heels team.
Being able to interact with them every day and see them buy into it and see them excel in the classroom and on the field and in the community, it's crazy. I still have to pinch myself sometimes, and I'm really grateful for them.
Setting the bar just as high for her players as she did for her teammates and herself.
I'm thinking you came in here as a student athlete saying won national championship. As a coach?
I mean, we'll see. 10 would be pretty great, but...
Then what are they going to do? They're going to have to co-name the field if you do that.
No. But we will see. Yeah, we'll start with 1 would be nice.
For more stories like these and live coverage of breaking news 24/7, stream us right here on CBS News. I'm Michelle Miller. Thank you for watching Eye on America.